Greetings. I'm Peter, the Bible study facilitator for Accessible Fellowship. We study online on Sunday mornings using MennoMedia's Salt and Light curriculum. Last week, we listened to Jesus tell us that we should come to him for living water, and then we discussed channeling that water to others. This Sunday, August 31st at 9 a.m., we'll study lesson number 13, the last lesson in the current series entitled The Waters of Service. Scripture is taken from John 13, and the purpose is to receive all that Jesus offers us so that we might be like him, humbly serving those around us, and especially those who belong to the family of Jesus. Now, last week's lesson was based on John 7. We discussed the Sukkot festival, the festival of booths. This week's lesson is based on John 13. Now, I decided on another quick and easy artificial intelligence experiment. I asked what was the least and the greatest length of time between Sukkot and Passover. It turns out to be about 6 months. It is at least 177 days and never more than 201 days between those two Jewish feasts. I was going to comment in this lesson on how much John talks about this short period of time in Jesus' ministry. But as I looked it over, it's obvious that you would do better to read it yourself than to listen to my summary of it. Our lesson examines Jesus washing the feet of his disciples. It's at the preparation of the beginning of the week-long Passover holiday. They may or may not have been preparing an actual Seder meal. Seder was first practiced around 90 BC, and it's the meal that's eaten on the first one or the first 2 nights of Passover, depending on where you live. As background to the lesson, I would like to talk about ritual cleansing that was introduced to Israel by God, by Moses, as recorded in Exodus chapter 19. All of Israel was basically cleansed by washing their clothes themselves before the Torah was delivered to Moses. Later, in Exodus 29, God commanded the priests, Aaron and his sons, to be purified before entering the temple. Their ordination as priests is recorded in Leviticus chapter 8. In Exodus 30, verses 19 and 21, God presented the daily ritual for the priests, their preparation for service, the sacrifices, the time involved, and the instructions to wash in a basin before the tabernacle. The purification rituals required cleansing, sacrifice, and time. It was not just the priests who were to be purified. Actually, there were many different ways that a layperson could become impure, could become unsanctified. It could happen from illness, bodily discharge, coming into contact with a dead body, childbirth, and other things. The ritual for purification is described in Leviticus chapter 14. The sacrifice and the time are detailed, but the cleansing part is not so detailed. Basically, they're just told to do it, leaving room for practical flexibility. Over time, a ceremony and its related facility were implemented. This is called mikvah. A mikvah is a facility dedicated to ritual cleansing. Historically, the mikvah evolved based on the text presented in Leviticus 11:36. Leviticus 11:36 says, "Now a spring or cistern that collects water is clean. That doesn't sound like much to go on. In the habit of the rabbinic tradition, making things maybe more complicated, mikveh evolved. The earlier cleansings were performed in natural water sources. Archaeology shows us that sometime around a century before the time of Christ, the mikveh began to take place in a dedicated facility. At some point, mikveh became a ritual for new converts, a one-time ceremony of cleansing when a Gentile converted to Judaism. Nowadays, the mikveh facilities are found almost anywhere where you would find Jews living. They often resemble health spas. The most common use is for postmenstrual purification. Men and women both perform mikveh before they get married. The preferred source of water is spring-fed water. The ocean or sea is always okay. It usually takes about 200 gallons. The water must be clean. Chlorine is recommended. The person's body must be clean, completely clean. No bandages, no fingernail polish. The body is fully immersed, all the way up to the tip of the hair. It has to be completely submersed. According to a rabbi, the mikveh is a picture of totally removing oneself from a natural context, almost like being reborn. Considering the mikveh helps us to understand better the baptism of John in the Jordan. It helps us understand Christ's references to baptism, and it might even help us understand better Christ's instructions to Nicodemus that one must be born again. Maybe it helps us understand what Peter was saying when he said, "Lord, you are not going to wash my feet, and if you are, you're going to wash me completely." Maybe he was referring to a mikveh. Perhaps it helps us understand Christ's response to Peter. Once you have been purified in my water, you are already clean. You just need to wash your feet. How does this apply to us? Please join me this week in praying that we will better understand how to apply the Jewish rituals to our lives as Christians, how to use them as memorials. In the meantime, go in peace.